Hi guys, this is Debbie with Debbie J's Crafting Corner. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm sharing a fun spring birthday card using a new interactive die set from Spellbinders. I'll have links to all of the products I'm using today in the video description below for your convenience. For this card, we're going to need 3 A2 size card panels. You can cut those with your paper trimmer like I usually do, or you can use the die that comes in the set to cut those so that they are perfectly sized and so that they are perfectly squared corners. So the die set that I'm playing with today is the Daisy Delight Garden Shutters A2 card base etched dies, and it functions pretty much the same way as did the Butterfly Bliss Garden Shutters card base. So basically this means that we're going to be creating a card with some cute shutters on there. This time it's an A2 size, and the mechanism works pretty much the same way. You do need to line it up with the edge of your cardstock, but this time we need to make sure we kind of center it in the middle. Then we go on and line up those holes or circles that we cut the first time around so that we can position our second shutter. So just like we did on the Butterfly Bliss card, I am folding on those score lines that were created by the die so that I can create that mechanism that moves up and down. This is a mountain and valley fold. We've got the shutter part popping out, and then we've got the little tabs that are going to be what adhere them down to the second A2 size card base. I'm using some liquid adhesive to adhere each of those little feet, I guess, onto the next card base. Just putting a little circle around that hole that's there, and then I'm going to place my second A2 size card base down on top of this. And I'm using my scoreboard to try to make sure that I get everything lined up perfectly on that corner. Next, I'm using my T-square ruler to just basically draw a line down the center both ways so I can find the absolute center of the card. That's because I've got a second die that's going to cut out that window, and it has a couple of little notches on it that help you to perfectly line everything up. Next, I'm using my art glitter glue to adhere that panel down as well. So I want to have that frame covering up all of the mechanism pieces on the rest of my card. Now that the mechanism is all done, I'm die cutting a bunch of pieces out to basically to be able to decorate it all with. I've got multiple layers of the different happy birthday to you sentiments. I'm going to layer it up, I believe I did about 4 times, and I'm just adhering those down on top of each other to give a little bit of dimension to the sentiment. I just love all these extra die cuts that come with this die set. This one is basically kind of a lattice work that's going to go on each of those little panels on my shutters, and I think that is just beautiful. I went ahead and used some more pattern paper out of that brand new to me pattern paper pack, and then I'll put that little panel onto my shutter. Next, I'll adhere that frame down. I had just taped it in place using some Best Ever craft tape, and now I'm going to just add some liquid adhesive and then apply it down to my original frame and make sure it's all positioned correctly on one end, and then take the tape off and then glue the last bit in place. I figured this is an easier way for me to make sure everything was lined up exactly correct on this card, because sometimes I have trouble getting things to line up exactly perfect. Next, I'm going to add some additional pattern paper panels onto the inside of those shutters and then add those little sentiments on there. I'm going to have happy and birthday on one and then to you down at the bottom. Next, I'm going to work on these cute little daisies. I decided to color the centers. Actually, I cut everything out of some white cardstock, and now I'm coloring in the centers using some Spectrum Noir markers. These are the CT 1, 2, and 4, I believe is what I use for these, and that's just going to be for the center, and then I'm going to just assemble each of those little daisies. I'm using a ball stylus and a rubber eraser to help me just kind of make those petals pop just a touch, and then I'm gluing some of the layers together. Each of the dies, I believe this is how it works anyway, but it looks like each of the dies has all the pieces that you would need to create one daisy. And this is my first daisy set, and I just think that these are just so precious. They are just simple and clean, and I don't know, I love these little flowers. Now that all of the daisies are assembled, I just go ahead and adhere those to the front of the card. I'm also cutting out some of the stems out of some white cardstock that I colored with one of my green markers, and I'm going to use those as kind of a finishing touch for the flowers. As usual, I'm grabbing out a bunch of my little tiny Hobby Lobby gems, and I'm adding them to the centers of the flowers on the pattern paper and kind of to look as dewdrops on my little daisies. To give more stability and make it easier for us to open and close those little shutters and give more space for writing a message on there, I'm adhering this down to an A2 size card base. But you know what? I didn't leave any kind of way to easily open and close the shutters on the front of that card. So I'm adding this little tab piece from the Butterfly Bliss Garden Shutters card-based die set, and I'm letting just a little bit of it peek out the top so that hopefully it'll still fit into an A2 size envelope. This garden shutter card is just too fun, and I know that you want to see the one that is a little larger for the Butterfly Bliss. So here's a link to that video as well. You guys have a wonderful day, and remember, if I can make it, you can too.